Okay, so we talk a lot about food. I talk a lot about nutrition, but mostly I like to talk about being healthy. And
Yes.
sometimes we go right for the stuff that's not healthy because we think it's going to help our mood.
We think we have the best intentions. We want it to, right? It maybe works for a hot second and a half. And then,
Well, yeah, that
right?
chip tastes really good when I'm eating it.
Right. And then sometimes before we're even done, we're going, oh no, why
Yeah.
did I do that? Right.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And the interesting thing is that, well, a few pieces. I mean, a lot of the foods that we gravitate towards, especially when we're stressed and, looking for escape, and a lot of the things that we associate as comfort foods and all of those
Yeah.
things have chemicals in them that turn off our brain's ability to know when we're full. So it is not a
Mm.
coincidence that you can't have just one. What was that?
Yeah.
Pringles, right? Once you pop,
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
stop. Remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No coincidence, right? So it's not our lack
Mm.
of will. It's not that we, are lacking or have some moral failing. It's
Mm.
these foods are formulated for our taste buds and our brain to not stop. They can turn off our ability to know when we're full.
So let's talk about what some of those foods are. I mentioned chips because
Yeah.
I go for salty, crunchy when I just
So
maybe
that
some of it's emotional, but let's talk about other things that have those chemicals that we tend to go to for comfort.
Sure. Well, that perfect balance of the salt and the crunch
Mm.
and the whole thing, right? And the fat and it
Mhm.
hits all the right spots on the tongue
Mm.
for the brain to go more, more, more,
Yep.
more,
Dopamine. Yep.
right? Yep. Sugar and salt and fat are all addictive tastes, which
Yeah.
means they're also acquired. So that means that we learn they taste good.
Hmm.
It also means that our bodies adjust. The more we have them, the more we want them. And the more we have them, the more it needs to be. We have a higher threshold for something to register as sweet or salty or fatty or something. So, the people who start with like one Splenda in their coffee and then
Yeah.
fast forward, they're
Yes.
at 3, 4, right?
Mm.
It's because our taste buds have adjusted. One no longer tastes sweet. We need more in order to hit that same threshold,
Boy, that's scary.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why my son eats a lot of candy.
Yeah.
I find little wrappers under
Right.
pillows in his room. I'm like, what's going on here? And there's 3 and 4 wrappers. And so, all the Halloween candy we're still dealing with. But,
Right.
and for kids, that can really be a problem too, because they might be getting sugar, a little bit here and there. But does it happen the same way for kids?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. So again, part of it is about what we're used to. Part of it is also, with kids, the conversation that we have around it. I have a kids and family program, and it's a delicate balance to not create fear foods or to not create, a disordered relationship, but also to enjoy within reason, right? So sometimes it's like, are you done with dinner because you want dessert? Or like, are you really full?
Yeah.
I often say to people too, like if the only thing that sounds good is a cookie, we're probably not stomach hungry.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Right? If
Right.
you'd eat broccoli, we're hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have hormones. So similar to the way we can become insulin resistant, right? We know that to be diabetes. We have hormones that tell us when we're hungry and when we're satisfied. Those are called ghrelin and leptin. And the same way we can become insulin resistant, we can become resistant to those hormones. So we might not respond. So think about all the times we've been told to eat less and move more. Our body is sending us the hunger signal and we're going, la, 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 like I'm not listening to you. I was told to eat less, right?
Yeah.
We're not responding to the ghrelin, and we are creating or contributing to, over time, a resistance to this hormone. That can happen with kids too. So it's also a balance of saying you can stop eating when you're full, but also learning some of those signals of saying, am I hungry again in 30 minutes? Am I hungry again in an hour? Or do I just feel like eating?
Yeah. Yeah. That is so interesting. I mean, really good body awareness. And that's one of the other things I want to talk to you about is learning to listen to what we are really needing. Are we eating? And sometimes we like to say in our family, like, it's fine to indulge every once in a while, but
Yeah.
know that you're doing that for fun, not for nourishment.
Well, it's just a different kind of nourishment, right? We're nourishing something
Mm.
other than energy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is sort of one of my pet peeves with the whole like wellness culture these days,
Mm.
because I feel like it's made food the enemy if we're
Yeah.
looking for something, anything other than fuel.
Yeah.
And let's just be real, like find me a culture that doesn't use food for connection or celebration
Right.
or grief or right? Every emotion
Yeah.
in every culture
Right.
uses food. So to try to pull that out entirely is also, in my world, I think a bit misguided, right? And to your point, I think it's a lot about the awareness
Mm-hmm.
and understanding. And then I'm a big fan of how versus what, right? So it's not what to eat, it's how to eat. So
Okay.
we
Tell
could eat
me
the
about that.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So taking a step back, whether we are burning fat or storing fat is a function of blood sugar. If our blood sugar is too high and if our blood sugar is too low, we're going to store everything we eat as fat.
Hmm.
So our objective is to keep our blood sugar in this middle zone where we're never storing fat. Now, that also is when we are metabolically healthy, which, and the research now shows us that metabolic health is connected to complete overall health, you know, our immune system, our cardiovascular health, our cognitive health, all these pieces. So we want to keep our blood sugar balanced. When we start our meal with something high glycemic, something that will spike our blood sugar, like we sit down at the restaurant and we start with the bread basket.
Which is so American.
Oh yeah, we're human, right? We live in this world. And by American, we have then, you know, transported that around the world.
Oh,
right?
sure. True. Yeah.
So even if what we ordered for dinner or any meal, right, is like textbook steamed fish and vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
our body's going to store that steamed fish and vegetables as fat.
Because we started with the high glycemic.
Exactly, because it's like
Oh.
flipping a switch. That high glycemic start, right, has now spiked our blood sugar, and we're going to store the steamed fish and vegetables as fat. If we don't eat all day, whether on purpose or because we just had a really busy day, and we sit down to eat, our body, in its infinite caveman wisdom, says, oh, it must be a time of famine. You're not going to kill me. I will survive. I'm going to take whatever you give me. I'm going to store it as fat. And the next time you don't eat, I'm not going to die. Right?
That's something there. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So we don't eat all day. We sit down at the restaurant. We eat the same textbook steamed fish and vegetables. We store it as fat.
Oh, boy.
So think about, you know, Thanksgiving in America is another one, right? We have this big meal and then we wait a while and then we do dessert.
Mm-hmm.
Dessert separately is like sugar bombing our body.
Mm-hmm.
The way we can blunt the impact of something higher glycemic is protein, fiber, and quality fat. So if we eat a great quality nutritious meal and have our dessert immediately after, or have the bread with the meal instead of first, it's like blunting the impact
Yeah.
of that. So like if you think of high glycemic foods as the color red and low glycemic foods as the color white, we mix them together and we get
Pink.
pink. Not as red as red, not as
Right.
white as white. We're somewhere
Yeah.
in the middle. If
So
we
we-
do more of the white stuff and less of the red stuff, we get a lighter pink,
Yeah.
right? So it's even for our kids like, cool, let's have 2 of the minis
Yeah.
right after dinner
Yeah.
and onward.
Right. But not right after school, an hour before I'm about to give you a healthy dinner.
Right. Well, so likely what's happening, right? When we're likely there's low blood sugar, they're actually really hungry,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? So it's, hey, if you're actually really hungry right now, let's have X, Y, or Z
Yeah.
and keep those for, you know,
Right after
dessert
dinner.
or whatever.
Right.
Again, if the only thing that sounds good to us is the candy bar, we're probably not actually hungry.
Mm.
And so it's just sort of, it's thinking through, well, what do we actually need in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we teach our kids and families is fridge first. Food
Oh
is
my goodness, you
found
need to
in the
come.
fridge.
I have threatened, I haven't done it yet, but I have threatened to put a lock on the pantry
Yeah.
because when they come home, the first thing they do is raid the pantry, which is
Yep.
all of the sugary things or cereal or chips, right?
Exactly.
Fridge first. I love that.
Fridge first. Food is found in the fridge.
Mm. Okay. Will you walk me through then a good day? And I'm focusing right now on fueling myself with protein. So
Right.
I've got all these little tricks. I want to ask you what you think of them in a minute.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but give me a good day. Give me just
Okay.
and everybody's going to vary in what they like, but give me a
Exactly.
good balance of the order in which you do things.
Okay. So this is probably less specific than you want it to be, but
That's okay.
here's
We'll make
how
it
we do
easy.
this. Here's how we do this. Protein and fiber at every meal makes
Okay.
removing fat no big deal.
Okay. Okay.
Protein and fiber at every meal makes removing fat no big deal. Protein is clean, lean protein. I don't care what you want it to be. Fiber is vegetables and sometimes fruit. And a meal is really every time we eat, meal or snack, the only difference is how much we have at a time.
Okay.
The other thing you want a couple times a day is quality fat. One day, I'll figure out how to get the fat into the fun sentence. But for now, protein and fiber at every meal.
Okay.
So breakfast might look like a veggie omelet or eggs with a salad. I'm a big fan of a breakfast salad. You're going to think I'm nuts. I'm telling you, just try it. Every time my clients are like, you want me to what? And I'm like, just trust me on this one. Okay. Whatever greens you have, throw them in a bowl.
Okay.
Whatever veggies you have, chop them up. The body loves variety. So anything you got, a little bit of all of it, right? Throw it in the bowl. Cook your eggs so that the yolk is still runny.
Okay.
Put them on top of the salad. The running yolk becomes like a creamy salad dressing.
Oh, yum. So like a over easy egg
Sure.
or even scrambled, but something that just where it runs a little bit.
Yeah.
And throw it
A
over the
running
salad.
yolk creates a salad dressing. You can add a little bit, like you could do everything bagel seasoning. You could do, I like to use nutritional yeast because it kind of tastes like cheese, but adds a ton of protein.
Yeah.
You could add a little bit of avocado to it. You could add a little balsamic vinegar because then the vinegar with the egg yolk is like dressing.
Oh my goodness. Sounds delicious. So this is
Delicious.
your breakfast salad. And when vegetables,
Breakfast
when you
salad.
say grab whatever you've got, you're talking about like some spinach, some mushrooms, carrots, celery, like you name it.
Yeah.
See, I do that with stir fry at night often.
Yeah.
Whatever I've got, just throw it in and add an egg and some cauliflower rice maybe or something. But I've never thought about that for breakfast. I don't know if I could get my 13-year-old son to do it. How would you get a kid to be okay with that?
Okay. So maybe not quite the breakfast salad as I just described it. So for the kids, we'll do what we call like an omelet muffin. So use your muffin tin, scramble some eggs, chop up a ton of veggies, stick the veggies in all the muffin tins, and you could do different flavors. Like do this one with like sun-dried tomato and feta, and do this one with, a little bacon and cheddar and whatever veggies in any of them. Pour your, scrambled eggs, raw into them and bake them. They do take a little while to bake. So do like a whole tray, then stick them in a Ziploc, put them in the fridge, right? Grab a couple in the morning, heat them up, throw them on top of a plate that's lined with raw spinach or something. So it's just adding a little bit more veggie and texture and whatever. And you'll be surprised. Like kids will eat it.
Wow. Yeah. But to focus on the fiber and the protein that sustains them through lunch. So now let's get to lunch. So lunch and dinner.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Protein, fiber, quality fat.
Okay. Quality fat. I am imagining you're saying like olive oil.
Olive oil, avocado oil.
Okay.
Avocado. By the way, a serving of avocado is half of the avocado.
Okay.
A serving of nuts is like a small handful of nuts.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're eating too many nuts. I promise you the nuts aren't how we got here. Right? Like if we're in a place of counting almonds, we're in a really good spot, right? So maybe on your salad, you're doing, adding nuts or walnuts. I find few things more satisfying than walnuts. So like I could add walnuts to something and it becomes infinitely more satisfying.
Yeah.
Right. And sustains us. Or a snack, walnuts and raspberries together. Actually, walnuts and any berry, I feel like is such a delicious snack. Right. So, which brings up, we're going to build all our meals the same way. We're going to build all our snacks the same way.
Make it easy.
Right. Yeah. So here's how we want to think of it in terms of getting through a full day. I want you to eat something within like an hour to 90 minutes of waking up. Don't start with coffee. Okay. An hour to 90 minutes.
Okay. I'm already in trouble.
Right. All right.
Really? Even if it, like I do put like whole milk in my coffee to give myself like kind of a.
Yeah, it's more really a function of what happens with the caffeine and our hormones on an empty stomach, especially for women. So,
okay, that explains a
Just
lot.
eat something, right? So just eat a little something. So a meal is going to last us 4 to 5.5 hours, depending on how much we have. A snack is going to last us like 1 to 2 hours, depending on how much we have.
Okay.
We want to finish food 2 to 3 hours before bed. So within that, we can figure out what it's going to look like for us. So a lot of people are like, I'm not a breakfast person. Like, don't make me breakfast. Okay. But we got to get something in our system to let our body know that it is safe and that it can burn fuel, right? It's not a time of famine. Yeah. So maybe you start with a snack rather than starting with a big meal. If we start with a snack that we know is going to last us maybe 1 or 2 hours, we're just sort of shifting that a little bit, right? So we start with a snack, maybe a couple hours later, we're having a bigger breakfast, which might mean that our lunch is actually a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally fine. It's more about saying, okay, does this timing make sense based on how much food I have?
Yeah.
So when we're sort of figuring some of this out, it might make sense to set an alarm. You started to talk about before, like checking in with ourselves and figuring out what we're feeling, right? Set an alarm. If I ate a snack, right, and I'm going to need another meal, maybe I'm setting the alarm for an hour. When the alarm goes off, it's like, how am I feeling? Do I feel like I need food? Okay, I'm cool. I'll set it for another hour. Or sometimes at that hour, we go, I don't need it right now, but I could probably use it in about a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? We can set that next alarm.
That's certainly something I've learned is to get ahead of the hunger, because by the time I'm hungry, first of all, it's when we all make bad decisions, right? So to just get ahead of it, to have a handful of nuts, even, and maybe you feel differently, but
yeah.
Okay, so I should be hungry about nut, but I'm not. But if I go ahead and have that handful of almonds, then I'm going to be okay. Yeah. Come lunchtime, I'm not going to be eating the bad thing.
Right. And that's chemical too, right? It's not that we suck when we're hungry. It's that our blood sugar is low. Our body is saying, I need fuel. Our brain is saying, I need fuel. The fastest way to get fuel to the brain is with a higher glycemic choice.
Yeah.
Which means that the chocolate, the candy, the bread, the pasta are all going to look more appealing than the vegetables and the protein, because that takes a little bit longer. So it's chemical that those things look good to us, recognizing that, right? So I used to work in hedge funds. I built my coaching practice on the side and I worked in hedge funds. And when I was, in the process of all of this, so I remember before learning everything, Monday mornings, they had a free breakfast in the kitchen that was like the mini pastry things and some fruit. And then Fridays was free pizza and salad for lunch. So inevitably Monday morning, like we all do, right? Monday is like the universal start day of anything. So Monday morning, come into the office and I'm like, I'm not going to eat the things, right? Walk in the kitchen to get some water. And there they are.
Yeah, they're calling your name.
Oh, they have a voice. You know that voice.
I know.
So they're screaming at me. And I remember the day that I was like, wait a minute. I get why that's really appealing to me right now. Because I woke up however long ago, right? I've gotten ready. I commuted to the office. Now I'm here. I still haven't eaten anything. I'm hungry. That's why that's really appealing. So what I actually need to do is go eat the thing that I brought. And then if I still want the mini croissant, I'll deal with it then. But let me at least just start with the thing that I brought.
Yes.
And then lo and behold, I'm like, I don't really want that.
Yeah. Oh, I so see that. That's so common.
And I think for me, the big shift, right, was like in understanding some of these things about the hormone side of it and the blood sugar side of it. And what it was like all of these food decisions switched from being emotional to intellectual.
Yeah. So a few episodes ago, I did a deep dive into, maybe you saw it, on intermittent fasting. And I know it's all the rage. And I know people who are very successful with it. I've gone in and out of, but I feel like when I do that, I'm like, another hour. Okay, another hour. Like it turns into a mental game of, can I make it? And then I've been okay not making terrible decisions, but I'm really struggling through that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to say not a good idea.
I'm not the biggest fan of intermittent fasting, especially for women. We'll come back to that in a second. Here's the fasting I like. 2 to 3 hours before bed, to about an hour and a half after waking up.
Okay. So go to the office and eat when you get there. You don't have to eat right when you wake up.
Yeah. Like within an hour and a half of waking up, we're going to get something in our system and we're going to not eat within a couple hours of going to bed. That time in between, that includes when we're sleeping, is our fasting time.
And that's about, if you're going to bed at 10, so say you stop eating at 8 and you don't eat again until 8 or 9, you're at 12, 13 hours, which what fasting is like 15 to 17 hours. So you're not that far off.
Yeah. And by the way, the idea, first of all, the average American, the average person anywhere on this planet does not get sufficient vitamins and minerals and nutrients given 24 hours a day to eat. The idea that we're going to get that in 7 hours isn't how number one, it's not how the body works. But number two, it's completely misguided in thinking that we're going to get everything the body needs in less time if we can't even do it in all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I'm hearing you say with your body storing it after 17 hours, you're going to be like, your body's going to hold on to everything that you've eaten after that 17 hours because it's afraid you're not going to eat again anytime soon. Right.
And there is some research around what some fasting can do. A lot of times we use that in specific situations, not for forever. And it's one of those things, just like keto, where there's some really great research that has snowballed into something really inappropriate.
I want to take a minute to tell you about one of the ways I keep my family healthy. I've been a customer of Seeking Health for several years, and I'm constantly amazed by the positive impact their products have had on overall health and well-being. From the very beginning, the team at Seeking Health has been dedicated to helping me build a strong foundation for my health through their focus on optimizing digestion, reducing environmental exposures, and nourishing my body with pure, high-quality supplements. They've provided me with the tools and the knowledge I need to support my body's natural healing systems, and I have seen significant improvements in my energy, immune function, and overall sense of well-being. A few of my favorites: Active Magnesium, the Glutathione Plus, Immune Intensive, also the electrolytes we put in our water in our family, all great products, and those are just a few. I'm grateful to the team at Seeking Health for their passion for prevention and their consistent commitment to helping with my family's health. If you're looking to take control of your health and build a strong foundation for your well-being, I highly recommend Seeking Health. You can get more information and a discount code by going to natalietysdal.com/favorites. Look for the Seeking Health logo and that discount code. Again, natalietysdal.com/favorites. The link is in the show notes. Okay, so talking about keto, I know a lot of people follow strictly, and Some people, they just are careful of it. So when you talk about don't eat the bread first, or, let's talk about pastas and rices and all of those things. What do they do? Especially since we wanted this to be about diet and mood.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about those things and when they're okay in a balanced diet?
Yeah. So as long as we're balancing those higher glycemic carbohydrates with protein, fiber, and quality fat, so it's not spiking our blood sugar, we're fine, right? The average person eats more grain than an Olympic athlete is recommended to eat on race day. So our culture has this imbalance of where fuel comes from and what fuel looks like. Grains in general, when we look at their nutritive value, I describe them as like inefficient. For example, a cup of raspberries has like 9 grams of fiber.
Okay.
A cup of brown rice has like 3.5. So if I'm supposed to get my quality fiber from the rice, I need 3 cups of the rice to get what I could get for some raspberries?
Yeah.
Right? It's inefficient if we're looking for protein, right? So thinking about it in that way, it's not that they're the enemy. It's that they have a different proportion in our society than actually what promotes health.
Yeah.
Sugar, refined carbohydrates, lack of omega-3s come together to reduce what's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. BDNF is like the precursor to most things cognitive, right? So our neurotransmitters require amino acids, which are in protein, to build. We need proper nutrition, vitamins, minerals, right? Amino acids in order to function and create hormones and create neurotransmitters and all of the things that allow us to think clearly, that allow us to create memories, that allow us to enjoy our lives, to experience things as they're happening, right? So if what we're constantly feeding ourselves are food-like substances rather than actually food, it tracks then that we're going to be low in mood, that we may have some other struggles, that we're not going to feel good energy or mentally or emotionally or any of these pieces, that everything is going to feel like climbing Mount Everest naked and barefoot, right?
That's been horrible. Yeah. Yeah.
Our food supply is the other piece of the problem because a lot of times, like for example, even with the pasta thing, I can go to Italy and eat pasta every day and not feel the same way I feel eating it once in a while here, because the quality of their flour, the quality of their raw ingredients, they're using different things than we are here.
Yeah.
So some of it is also about what's allowed to be in our food as much as it's about what we're having, when we're having it, how we're having it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But to be safe, if you really want to do yourself good, eat from the fridge, right?
Yep. Fridge first. And then see if you're hungry for other things. Okay. I want to tell you about my favorite snack right now. I hope you like it because I love it. I hope I'm not going to get a big no. Okay. So I think I saw this on TikTok. I'm not the food police, so that's okay.
I know, but I want to know that it's okay because I have a sweet tooth, and I particularly have a sweet tooth when I'm working at night.
I'll tell you why. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I get munchy. And so instead of chips or sometimes almonds or nuts or something, but I go for a cookie. So I don't buy cookies. However, what I've been doing is, and we didn't talk about different forms of protein, but I've been doing a protein shake.
Okay.
So, and a couple hours before bed, an hour or two. I don't think I'm going past that too much, like 6 or 7-ish. Okay. So I put it in my mini blender with 2 tablespoons of sugar-free pudding, which you're probably going to tell me it probably has fake sugars in it. That's not good. I have to check that. And then I put it in the fridge with some blueberries or strawberries or something, and it solidifies. So it's like 30 grams of protein, but it tastes like pudding because it turns into pudding with fruit in it. And I feel like I'm having the most luxurious dessert ever. I love it. It's got a lot of protein.
All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hack.
It's bad?
No. First of all,
Okay.
I'm not the food police.
Okay.
Everybody, you're going to make the decisions that work for you.
But I
right?
want to make informed decisions so that
Yes. And we're going to make different choices at different phases of the process.
Okay.
Right? So right now, that pudding for you might be killer. And when you're ready, you could go, this probably has a lot of fake stuff in it, which is what I call the food-like substances.
Yes, in the protein shake and in the Jell-O or the pudding.
Well, who knows? It depends on the protein powder that you're using. But what if maybe I'm using a different protein powder? I don't know. The one you have might be totally fine.
Okay.
And then what if I use chia seeds instead of the pudding to turn it into a pudding?
Okay. And blend it, like let it soak so they kind of puff up.
Let them soak up. Yeah. Sit in the fridge.
Okay.
Right? Make the protein shake.
Okay.
Throw the chia seeds in. Let it sit in the fridge. Turn into a pudding.
Okay.
Add the fruit on top and eat it the same way. Maybe you use a touch of honey if the protein powder or whatever, or monk fruit extract, right? A lower glycemic sweetener. So we could still get a little bit of that sweetness without all the chemicals that are probably in our instant pudding or whatever it is.
Yes. Okay.
And by the way, this is someone like I used to make the Jell-O instant pudding with half milk and half water so that I didn't have all the calories of all the milk. I mean, like I have done it all, you guys, like I promise, right? But we get to a point where like, okay, right now the protein shake pudding is like the thing for you. And eventually you might be like, you know what, let me try the chia seed
I'm
thing.
always willing to improve on it. I just saw someone else do this and I went, so I love that idea. Can you have too much chia? Like, can I let it?
You'll know.
So I can let it kind of soak up and turn into like a tapioca and then maybe put it in the blender to smooth it out. Or I mean, to try it.
I don't even think you need to put it in the blender after.
Okay.
Like it's going to have a little bit of crunch and texture when you go to eat it, but add some nuts, add some berries, right? Do your thing. Also, life hack. Frozen berries, when you heat them up, create a syrup. Like the water that melts ends up tasting like berry syrup. So like throw that on top of
delicious
your pudding, right?
Yeah.
Like use that as the sweetener in it or whatever. Like delicious things.
I love that. Yeah.
But thinking about too, like this is where we are right now. This is the next step. But the idea of saying, oh, I'm going to go from here to not eating at night. And then we think we're failing at life because we ate something.
Yeah. And we're all just learn. I mean, that's why I love podcasting. It's like we're learning as we go. So take the tips, try something else, keep trying. Like just don't stop trying.
Just pick
everyone.
one thing.
Yeah.
One thing to try, then the next thing to try. You don't have to do everything all the time, every day. Like that's setting ourselves up, I think.
Well, and that's when we go, I give up and we go for the chip. Because it's just too hard. Right. So try one thing.
Speaking of, we're hungry at night because we're tired.
Okay, that's what you were going to tell me is why I'm
So we're hungry at night because we're tired.
Okay.
The computer screen, the TV, our phone, all the devices, on top of the fact that we're still trying to use our brains. And I say this with all the humility in the world because I am the worst at this. I work too late. I watch TV too much, like all the things. Okay. All of those, the blue light, we've heard how terrible blue light is. But the reality is 7th grade science light spectrum, blue light is the closest to daylight. Our circadian rhythm of sleep-wake cycles, number one, are set by daylight. So what's happening, our body's tired. Our eyes, those receptors for the daylight are in the eye, in the brain, connected to the eye. Our eyes are getting daylight from our devices, from the
8, 9
TV, from the computer, from all the things. And our body's going, but I'm tired. How can you tell me it's daytime? So what do I do if I'm tired and I'm getting signals to be awake? Give me fuel. I'm going to tell you I'm hungry so that I can stay awake. Because I'm being told I'm supposed to be staying awake. So sometimes at night, like we're hungry because we're just tired. So but our body thinks we're supposed to be staying awake. Right.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes it's like shifting just little things to eventually say, you know, do I want to do this? Could I go to bed? Could I at least just stop with the screen? I don't know, like I work late at night a lot. Also, creativity happens a lot late at night.
Yeah.
Because we're tired. And so the judgmental side of the brain turns off. So a lot of times when we want to do all our creative stuff, it happens more at night. So, there's that.
That's or maybe just limit it, not every night.
Yeah.
I'm going to give myself this night. So, I love your ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So we want to learn more. I follow you on Instagram and I know you have several places people can find you. And I would love for you to share that with everyone.
Absolutely. So my podcast, Salad with a Side of Fries, all of this and more. All social media, I am at Jenn Trepeck, JENN-TREPECK. And my website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. So reach out to me. Like nothing makes me happier than hearing from you. What was new? What have you tried? What are you like? Sorry, I don't agree, right? I love having these conversations. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. And we can give you a link for everybody to get a complimentary wellness discovery call.
We'll put that in the show
send
notes.
you that. Yeah.
Send that, and then that'll be easy for people to link. And just such great ideas and inspiration. You explain it in such just a real way. And I appreciate that. Love the name of your website and everything you do too. As long as I can still have a fry every once in a while. It's okay.
I mean, who wants a life without fries?
I know. Just eat the salad first. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Jenn. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.